Fuck this. Hey, I'm Ray Halliburton, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Pure Comedy by Father John Misty. This is Joshua Tillman's third studio album under his Father John Misty moniker. He's released a handful of albums under his own name, and then I think he was the drummer in Fleet Foxes, but I can't really remember if that's the case. I know he was in that band, but I can't remember if he was the drummer or not. I think he was. But anyway, he's been doing it for a while. That's the point. And I was pretty excited when I heard this album was released, because this album here, I Love You, Honeybear, his previous studio album, was one of my favorite albums of 2015. You want to focus up there? And yeah, the indie folk rock arrangements in that song, they were good. They were nice, they were pleasant to listen to, they were catchy. But the lyrics, bruh, the lyrics were the main appeal to that album. These lyrics are so cutting, so truthful, so honest. He's really just a joy to listen to, especially when you've been listening to a bunch of really shitty lyricists, like most of them. So it was refreshing to hear, especially when the topic was love, which is something people hate to be honest about, because if you're being honest about love is sad. But Joshua Tillman wasn't afraid to do that. So I was impressed by that album a lot. I liked it a lot. And so when I heard this album was being released, I was like, I wonder if he's going to bring that honesty back for this one. And, yeah. I listened to the lead single, the title track, Pure Comedy, first track on the album, and I was impressed and intrigued because it seemed like Father John Misty was getting political. Or at least, like, social. Like, there's a lot of social commentary in that song. Like, he pretty much just rips apart the entire human experience for the fucking joke that it is. Or that it is to him, at least. That's the pun. So yeah, that track impressed me, so I was excited, I was pumped, and here it is, and I was wondering if he was going to be able to keep that level of quality up for 80 minutes, and he does. And it's not political. I was wrong about that. I mean, there are definitely parts that are sort of political, like the song Two Wildly Different Perspectives is totally Republicans and Democrats. Although, in the track where it says, one side says, kill them all, the other side says, line all those killers up the wall. I got a BLM versus anti-BLM vibe from that. I don't know about you guys. I'll leave you to guess which one is which. But anyway, so yeah, not all that political, but he really dives into, like, examining humanity and human nature, and for 80 minutes, he's just taking a look at human beings and how they interact with each other and shit, and he really gets deep. And, he doesn't leave any stone unturned, to be honest. And lyrically, it is a very satisfying album to listen to, because he's so honest with his lyricism, and he's exploring such deep topics, and he's able to explore these topics well, without seeming cheesy, or taking himself too seriously. That's a good balancing act that I think every lyricist needs to try to learn. There's no lines in here that make you go, ugh. Like, they don't make you cringe, and then they're also not like, dude, come on, get the fuck over yourself. It's a sober look at human nature, very well written, and if I had to choose a favorite track, I'd probably shoot for the 8th track, When the God of Love Returns, They'll Be Held Up, which is basically like God returns to Earth to cast judgment upon humanity, and Father John Misty's like, come with me, bro, let me show you some shit. And he basically shows God what humans have created, and then he goes into describing human nature, and the last verse of the song, let me get the booklet here, hold on. The last verse of the song, From Father John Misty to Ostensibly God, is explaining human nature to a God who clearly doesn't seem to understand it, is, we just want light in the dark, some warmth in the cold, and to make something out of nothing sounds like someone else I know. That's a beautiful lyric. If you don't like that lyric, fuck you. That's a great lyric. I don't care what anybody says. And there are tons of great lyrics like that. I'm not going to name them all because I could be here all fucking day. I could be here all day just going into all the topics he explores, all the facets he goes into. It's like a beautiful album, a depressing album, a funny album. He brings all these different emotions into one in a really sobering way without being overbearing. Now, my big problem with the record, I do have a problem with it. Not a big one. I mean, it is my big problem, but it's not really a huge problem. It's a little... fuck it. There's not a lot of instrumental variety. For as deep as he goes lyrically and thematically, he doesn't fill these 80 minutes with a ton of interesting instrumental ideas. Like, this album's clearly inspired by, like, or at least, like, paying homage to the classic 70s and 60s and 70s double albums. But if you compare it... oh, sorry, Jesus. If you compare it to a lot of those, it doesn't really live up instrumentally. Like, compare it to Blonde on Blonde, or, fucking, what's the Rolling Stones one? Exile on Main Street. Compared to either of those albums, it pales in comparison instrumentally. But lyrically, I'm not going to say it's better than Blonde on Blonde, because that's Bob Dylan, and you're hard-pressed to be a better lyricist than Bob Dylan. It's better lyrically than Exile on Main Street, I'll say that, even though that's a great album. But instrumentally, I just felt it doesn't bring as much variety as I would have liked. Like, the furthest it goes in terms of instrumentals is the occasional electronic influence, like, just barely even worth mentioning. They're so slight. But, I mean, that's a small complaint. It keeps this album from being a masterpiece to me right now. But, I think this is a really important album right now, because Joshua Tillman's view of humanity in the world right now is really unique, I think. Like, I think a lot of his ideas are ones that more people should hear, not try to adopt necessarily, but just hear out, because there's so much negativity in the world right now, and he addresses all the negativity, but he also addresses the fact that deep down we really need each other to make a better world, and I think that's a message that's really important right now. So, instrumentally, it's not all that adventurous. It's not as engrossing instrumentally as I would have liked, but it's performed well, and it's very lyrically ambitious, very lyrically absorbent. I'm gonna go ahead and fuck. I'm teetering between two right now. I'm gonna have to go 9. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 for pure comedy. I wouldn't feel right giving it an 8. I really wouldn't. If you like this review, you know what to do when you like something on YouTube. I don't need to hold your fucking hands. If you've heard this album, tell me what you think in the comments. And that's gonna be it for me today. This was a hard one to film, because I'm really tired right now. That's gonna be it for me today. Peace out. Thanks for the views. See you guys later.